right, welcome to How We Live podcast. My name is Colby, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host Pete McCoubry. This is a podcast dedicated to all things LIV Golf, the league, the players, the events. We're going to be recapping all sorts of things. Obviously, most recently, the Hong Kong tournament. Recent news in the world of golf that is going to affect LIV Golf, and we'll dabble in some other areas. But Pete, how are you?
I'm doing great. That's so good. Thank you for having me again. I'd like to pick it up the time capsule as per usual. I think this is a fitting one. 38 years ago, Anthony Kim was born. 5 years ago, Anthony Kim won his last tournament. But 5 days ago, Anthony Kim got a little bit hot. And I think we owe an apology. So I'll kick it back to you.
We did. He was one of the mulligans of the week after Jeddah, coming in dead last, but he has redeemed himself in a magnificent way, being able to come in tight, shooting a 65 on the last day of Hong Kong. We'll get into that, but Pete, I really want to address recent events outside of LIV Golf.
Yes.
Mostly there's a lot of news going on in the sport of American football for all of our international viewers, so don't pay attention to it. I'm a little concerned because I've been seeing a lot of the Steelers, a lot out of the Chiefs, a lot out of the Bears, a lot out of the Eagles. I haven't seen, other than the Mac Jones trade for what I assume was a bag of rocks to the Jaguars, but I want to get your overall reaction to what's going on with the Patriots, because I know that they're your team. Saquon Barkley from the Giants to the Eagles, got to hurt for our Giants fans out there. But what's going on?
Patriots, it's not good.
Not good.
Things haven't been. No. Here's the thing about that. Before we get into golf, the Patriots have more money than anyone in the league. Make a big splash, cannonball. Get some great players. Haven't done it, but what we have done, and what they're telling us, they're just bringing back some of the key players from last year. But I'll tell you this: last year's team was the worst team I've ever seen in my life. So any player that comes back from them is like, it's just not that exciting. But you know what? That's the thing about a new season, and we're getting into that with golf. I'm not trying to make a crude segue here, but like, new season's ahead of us. Springtime's approaching. Hope springs eternal, you know? So I'm thinking that this year, new coach, maybe some better weather, make some adjustments to the uniform. These players that were historically really, really bad are going to come back and be just the best. So Super Bowl is back on, I'd say, for the Patriots.
Okay. Got it. And who is the idealistic starting quarterback for the Patriots this coming 2024 season?
We don't really have one right now, but that's the thing. It's like, sometimes people get so caught up in like the who's going to do this, who's going to do that, they just forget to kind of just do. And if you're so worried about like who's going to row the boat, that boat's going to sink. Someone's going to row it. Not going to be me, not going to be you, and hopefully it's not Jacoby Brissett, who we recently signed. But he'll keep it afloat. He'll keep that boat. No one's going to drown, but no one's going to row that boat to a Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah, no one's going to.
We need to call up Tom Brady and say, look, what else are you going to do?
He's going to broadcast at Fox Sports, though, right?
Yeah, $400 million I heard that he got. But, what's money to a guy like that? Come back. Sling the rock around. Who cares?
Yeah. You're close to him, so I'm sure if you just send a text out to him, he'll come right back. No problem. Yeah, we'll be following the Patriots' rise to victory or fall to demise throughout the spring and into summer. But
I would say rise to victory, and I would also say we are knee-deep in free agency right now. There's notifications, I'd say, every 10 minutes. So if I'm not paying attention, I'm just checking on that. I do have some things to say, and I look forward to saying those things.
Bringing us back to LIV Golf Hong Kong, another playoff LIV event, which is always fun to watch. You had obviously Abraham Ancer taking the victory, which was very cool to watch. The Hong Kong Golf Club, I think, was an interesting tournament in which it was only like 6,700 yards, which is fairly small.
That's an executive course, basically. But that's the equivalent of an executive course.
Yeah, they had a couple par fives. Like the longest par five was like a little bit like just under 500 yards. I mean, I would have difficulty with it, probably shooting double, triple, quadruple bogey, but at the same time, a lot of these guys had to adjust their game. There was some really cool shots. There was actually some really cool putts too. These guys really had to shape it. But Abraham Ancer really came to form. There was also debate in which, you know, he himself said that this was not a golf course fitting to his style of golf, which I think everybody wants to be like a big, you know, driver off the ball and everything like that. But this guy was a good, really good short game player. So I think if there's other tournaments like this on LIV throughout the year, I'd probably lay some money down on Ancer moving forward. It was a playoff with him, Paul Casey, Cam Smith going into the end. Cam Smith, of course, was putting lights out. Paul Casey coming in with a big rise on the last day. But he had a spectacular birdie on the extra hole itself. But going into the playoff, you know, Ancer still delivered right down the middle. Paul Casey put it kind of directly into the woods, had a pitch out. Cam Smith sent it into the bunker. And Ancer ended up coming up with a win, which was awesome. And what was also awesome in comparison to Jeddah is that there was a really big gallery, at least from what they showed on TV. So they were able to drive out the crowds. People were eager to see some of the most recognizable names in golf and play in real time, signing autographs, etc., liaising with the gallery. It was a lot of fun to watch. The Crushers came in with another win.
Yeah.
So rallying the final round from out of nowhere again. But our boys on Torquay as well, they managed to get up there too, but you know, I was kind of surprised to learn that it was Ancer's first win on LIV. I also very interested to see, you know, the Arnold Palmer was going on with the PGA where Scotty Scheffler won, and congrats to him. And that was an amazing win. He won by 5 strokes. The purse ended up equalizing out at about $4 million for the winner. It's one of the biggest purses I think that Scotty Scheffler won. Ancer had also won with his first tournament on LIV. So they're both sitting at equal money right now.
I just want to say, pretty sneaky, cocky move of Ancer to you win a tournament and then you say, you know what, it's not even my type of course. Like, it's not playing outside of my game. I really respect that out of him. He won the tournament and he's still like, course is no good, my game is no good. Sends a message to the rest of the guys.
The good news is that they figured out the broadcasting issue. It must have been the situation in which we originally thought, where, you know, they're using local broadcasters, local media people, etc. I need to dig in deeper with this, probably with Greg next podcast when we have him on. But at the same time, it's going to be interesting to see, you know, how that continues to evolve. They continue to have it. There's a few holes on there that were pretty sweet, as far as like an elevated tee box, driving dogleg left, and everybody was shaping their balls right off it. Ancer had a ridiculous putt where he's putting almost perpendicular to the hole itself, arcs way up to the top of the green, and it comes down in the hole. It was pretty sweet. But, you know,
when do you think that you and you might be already this good, maybe, but when do you think we get to the point we can not face the hole and putt? Still feel confident. How long does that take?
I don't know if I'm ready to actually play on a course where the greens are so difficult in which you don't get to face the hole. It would be kind of fun. I don't know. We'll see what happens when we go down to San Antonio. Maybe there'll be some fun stuff down there. We'll be playing with some good players, and we'll see what happens. But I think that the Crushers coming back from behind to win another team event. I mean, we'll get into the team stuff in just a little bit, but I mean, you know, that's still continuing off their 2023 reign at the top. Paul Casey had an excellent day as well. You know, and Cam Smith was really driving home. He won in Hong Kong back in 2023. So it was probably pretty hurtful for him to lose that one. But either way, excellent crowd, excellent play. Everybody was out there really looking to make some strokes. Some of the big drivers, the dogs, they were out there, couldn't really deliver, which I think kind of just goes to the diversity of gameplay out there on LIV, personally.
Yeah, I know. But I think we're in the lead here a little bit. Let's talk about AK.
Let's talk about AK. So, had a tough run.
I'll introduce this because I feel like we've read the comments. I'm always the one that doesn't know anything about golf. Not true. I know everything about golf. But Kim came back, hadn't played. We gave him the mulligan of the week. Hey, give him a chance. Then he came back, finished dead last. We gave him the mulligan of the week again. Then he came back for a third time, which is like that's a lot of comebacks for one guy in such a short period of time. And then he was lights out, shot a 65. So here's a guy who's just finding his groove.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can't write him off just yet. When he said shoot a 65, I mean, he was one of the lower scorers on day 3. I mean, he beat the likes of Jason Kokrak, Hudson Swafford, Phil Mickelson, Kieran Vincent, who we're still trying to find an identity for, able to really kind of strive to build his game and retain some sort of consistency out there. He's going to be playing in Macau this week, got a special exemption into the Asian Tour, so we're really trying to follow exactly what's happening. He finished 3 over the tournament, but he had 7 birdies and 2 bogeys on the final day. Notably, in his putting was what really stood out. Sinking over 150 putts on Sunday alone, 150 feet of putts.
Well, it's different. It's different than sinking 150 putts in a day. That would be no good.
150 feet worth of putts. He laid it in a single putt. So it's pretty good. I'd like to see a guy like Anthony Kim really striving. I mean, rumor has it he had his clubs fitted. He really is coming out of nowhere, striving to play the game of golf. I've heard references of him out there being like a caveman. You just kind of thaw the ice, and he's really just resurging, doing a drop from the shoulder length in Jeddah versus down by the knee, being told by the judges what's a rule and what's not, and then he gets his clubs fitted and he's trying to figure it out. I think that he's going to continue to get better over time once he learns the pace of play and the pace of the game and figures out his stroke and and really settles the nerves, just settle the nerves. You're out there, you're making a bunch of money, you get to have a good time.
Just gotta calm down.
Just gotta calm down. So he remains focused on his game. He remains focused on his pace of play. He remains focused on his strokes. He's really just remaining focused totally within his own game, and I'm happy that he's out there on LIV. I've said it in the past on this podcast as well that I think that LIV, a lot of people debate whether or not, was this the best decision? Should he have gone into a more of a Korn Ferry or a Q school or all this other stuff? Anthony Kim's look, I'm just trying to get back. I'm 38 years old. I want to be on mainstream. I want to make some money if I'm going to do this. And, LIV gives him, I would say, the cushion that provides somebody like that to gain surgeons, bring popularity to the league. And I think it's a great thing. So we want to give Anthony Kim a little round of applause.
Yeah,
nice 100%. Kind of going in, we talked about Full Swing last week. Pete, did you get a chance to watch any of the Full Swing show on Netflix?
Yeah.
Oh, really? What reactions do you have to that?
I thought it was pretty good. I think my audio is all messed up. I like the Full Swing. Here's the thing. I didn't get a chance to really watch it, but I've heard a lot of good things. I am watching a lot of Bravo programs.
Nice. Right.
Real Housewives of Potomac, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Real Housewives of Los Angeles, Real Housewives of Miami. And it's not really going to help the podcast, but those are 4 pretty good, let's say, golf destinations that we should do. I kind of rely on you Full Swing to keep us in on the nuts and bolts, the ins and outs, and I'm kind of just scoping out where we go next through Bravo.
Yeah, so two things. I think that as a as a man watching a lot of Bravo, I think that says two things. One, you appreciate the finer things in life, and two is that you're obviously in a healthy relationship. So that's also very good.
You learn a lot about yourself. I think it can kind of help your golf game because you have to. You're kind of acting out of order, and you get back to the reunion episodes, and that's sort of like when you reset, kind of see what you've done, and you're like, "Yeah, I made some mistakes. I'm gonna clean that up. Next season, I'll be better." And so that's.
I think a lot of thing about Bravo, and also like a lot of thing about golfers out there, especially male golfers, is that if you want to get rounds in, you got to put some serious Bravo time in. So I, if you're in a relationship, get that Bravo time in. I'm a big below deck guy myself. Get that and make sure that you spend time with your significant other and watch it because that's relationship building moments. The full swing season from start to finish, I did see the whole thing. It was awesome. The Ryder Cup situation was great. There was instances in which it was kind of heart wrenching. I mean, obviously you had a guy like Keegan Bradley, Justin Thomas, kind of fighting for a position on the 2023 Ryder Cup team. Keegan Bradley wins the Travelers. It was a situation in which everybody was kind of thinking like, oh, this guy's kind of rising to the particular position where he could be on the team. He goes over to his wife and mentions like, after he wins the Travelers, hey, how do you feel about going to Rome? Or like, are you ready to go for Rome? And his wife reacts in a way that like, oh, that sounds so awesome. And then it turns out that Zach Johnson never picks him. But then there's this weird scene also where Zach Johnson is staying with Jordan Spieth, Ricky Fowler, and Justin Thomas all at the same time. And they're talking at the dinner table or whatever. And it's just like, it is the boys club. And Keegan was never part of the boys club. And I think you have to play the game a little bit. But either way, it was a lot of fun. Too bad the U.S. didn't win. But at the same time,
during the Ryder Cup one, like, because obviously the two main enemies of mine were it's Rory and Tiger. There was a moment during the Ryder Cup, this past Cup, when Rory was, not surprisingly, just kind of whining, and he was really crying. He had to be escorted into a car. Remember that? Because it was after there was a story that had come out that you're gonna have to help me on the guy's name, but there was a story that the U.S. weren't happy with the guy that was wearing his hat in the incorrect way, and so once that
Patrick Cantley, didn't wear his hat. It was said that he didn't fit, but it was rumored that Patrick Cantley felt that players should be compensated financially by playing on the Ryder Cup, and so in protest, he wasn't wearing his hat. But it came out later that he's like, no, the hat just didn't fit, and it felt weird and it irritated my head and I couldn't concentrate. And then the whole like the hat, how's your
a rallying cry for the U.S. when all the U.S. guys were waving their hats at the European team, and not surprisingly, Rory lost his mind and got his feelings hurt and had to be escorted into a car. And trust me, I've been in these situations before. If a little 5'3" whiny guy, thank God he was out of there, he would have caused some damage. But did they touch on that at all?
Yeah.
Or?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. I mean, essentially a whole half of an episode dedicated to that. It was Patrick Cantley's caddy waving his hat around the green. Shane Lowry got involved from Team Europe, and it became a rallying cry 100% for U.S. because they had essentially nothing going on. I mean, they were not the underdogs. I mean, the team was pretty stacked on paper, but like once they got out to the play, and then it goes back to the whole Justin Thomas thing. Justin Thomas was an excellent pick by Zach Johnson on the team because he's a locker room guy. He got everybody jazzed up. He was, he didn't play in a hat. I do like Justin Thomas in the way that he seems like a guy's guy and goes out there and really likes to compete and get super competitive. And, but yeah, they did touch on that, which is great. showed a little bit behind the scenes. She already stuffs him into the car.
That's why Team Wakefield, getting into some personal stuff, traditionally has done so well when we have a full team. Some stuff going on behind the scenes we won't touch on, but that's why they keep me around. I'm a locker room guy, you know?
Yeah.
You need that guy in team golf.
Yeah.
And I think Liv has finally found a spot for a locker room guy in golf.
Yeah. Yeah, I assume. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Crusher's got a great locker room environment. Throughout this entire thing, you have Team Smash, Team Crush, obviously Team Torquay. They have some sort of locker room environment going on as well. The Rivers GC are really trying to fool it, and Majestics. Really pulling forward and trying to build it up a little bit. I think that if they can get that locker room environment going, then they're going to be able to find some serious success. So I think moving forward, I think a lot of people need to watch Full Swing if you haven't done it, and embrace that locker room environment.
Do you think that the locker room environment? I know it's not a team game, but when Liv comes to the Masters, do you think that's a little extra edge for them? Because it's sort of like we're playing solo, but we're a team here. Gonna show everyone.
I don't know. It'll be interesting because last season at the Masters was the first time that a lot of these guys, they're wearing their team gear and they're playing in the Masters, etc., and see what's going on. I think it's such a big event and such an individual event that they will probably just go about their business. But I think that, if there are teammates playing, you have Patrick Reed that'll play, obviously, with Dustin Johnson. What's going on there. I'm not a big Patrick Reed guy myself. I find him to be a little controversial as far as the rules go. But, that's the only thing. I do like the Four Aces as a team.
No, go on.
But I just find that there was a tournament last year or the year before where he shot it into a palm tree or something like that, and he had to go find the ball, and he was pointing at the tree, and it obviously went into a different tree. He's like, "No, that's my ball. I should get a drop right here," and it was a better lie and all this other stuff, and everyone's like, "We blatantly saw you blade it into this other tree, sir." So it was it just doesn't seem like the most honest guy out there, but at the same time, he's competing. He's competing. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of guys out there that are trying to do these kind of lie type deals and figure it out. But he's just one guy on the Four Aces for me that's just really holding me back from really rooting for the team. Love Dustin Johnson. It's just one of those things, but. Want to get into the mulligan of the week. Today is kind of press conference day at the Players. And I'm talking about this because it's specifically geared towards LIV Golf and the PIF. But PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan held his first public press conference since last August Tour Championship at East Lake, covering various different topics. I mean, they're really trying to figure it out. Obviously, you have PGA Tour Enterprises being announced last week. You have Jay Monahan kind of scrambling. They definitely understand that there are certain situations going on within the PGA. I mean, frankly, lack of talent that's in the field for a lot of these things. But there's good rising stars, and I agree with that. But at the same time, they're trying to figure it out to get people to be really engaged with the level of golf that's out there. They want to grow that fan engagement. They talked about investing in technology and investing in the fan base and investing in this, and we understand that we hear you and all this other stuff. And there was instances where they asked Jay specifically what about these big hit players like Jon Rahm and Dustin Johnson that aren't going to be at these worldwide events where they are saying that this is the most competitive, this is the most competitive league with the best players in the world. And he was just very, very, just defensive about it. He was just more look, if we're going to be doing this, I'm focusing on this. And they're oh, what about the impending deal with the PIF? And he was just I met with them and this is happening and that's happening. I can't really discuss what's going on. It's not for the public view and all this other stuff. But you still have like the SSG moving in and that investment. And there's been news about like LeBron James and these other people investing in the PGA, and it's just getting kind of silly. And I think a lot of people were just like, all right, like it felt like any other executive just like bullshitting around the details and not giving anybody anything that they want.
Right. Absolutely don't answer the question and just kind of like kick the can down the road.
He's like, yeah, we're just figuring it out. This is fucking stupid. It was just like, yeah, I'll tell you everything without telling you anything. It was done.
That's like CEO 101 though. So you got to respect that.
I guess, but it was also just kind of like, I mean, you had your top guy for a while, Rory McIlroy, who just doesn't want to be involved with any of this nonsense at all. He's like, I'm going to focus on my golf game and not worry about this. Yeah, just like 100%. Just like, look, and I think that the whole announcement about them partnering would like burn Rory McIlroy a lot, where he's like, look, you guys do whatever the fuck you want. I'm just going to go out here and, try my best to win tournaments and, screw LIV. And I don't know, he might be on LIV 2025. Who knows?
Pretty much can be that. But if I'm him, I'm talking it up every chance I get. I'm not dodging questions. I'm trying to. That's also CEO 101. Like trying to get that deal to get done. Just like
put pressure on the PIF if you're going to do that, and be like, yeah. I mean, they even talked about Anthony Kim and like the fact that he reached out to the PGA and like trying to figure out a path back. And like Jay Monahan's like, yeah, like we talked to him and, he's not a PGA member. And, there was it made it sound like they didn't even try to work with Anthony Kim at all. Be like, okay, if you go to the Corn Ferry or if you go to Q school, if you do this, you do that. He's like, no, Jay Monahan, who knows? Like, he's probably like, who are you? Like, what's going on? Like, no, I don't know who the hell you are. I don't have time for this right now. Anthony Kim's like, okay, I'll just go to LIV and make $7.5 million and be a wild card player where I'll get respect and privilege and they'll fly me around everywhere. It was just like a missed opportunity. I thought, I don't know.
And he gets to come back as a potential success story too. And it's like he was rehabilitated by LIV.
Right. And I think that's the one thing, obviously, that the PGA is missing is like that fan investment into particular players. You have like Knapp who's rising up, and then he emphasized on these like all these young rising stars like coming into it. That was like his like brainchild. Like, hey, but we have all these young people that are coming up into the ranks and all this other stuff. Like, yeah, well, that's great too, but I want to see Brooks Koepka hit bombs. I want to see John Rahm like make ridiculous shots. I want to see Cam Smith put a putt in from like 45 feet or whatever. And I want to see a guy like Abraham Ancer, win on a course where he doesn't think that he actually fits the whole thing and then shape shots and all this other shit. So I thought that was pretty, that was my mulligan of the week anyways.
Mine too.
And now a moment for our sponsor. A Wink or a Nod Marketing is a new boutique marketing agency specifically designed for small businesses. If you are too busy or simply just don't know how to run social media, build a brand plan, or write copy, go to winkoranod.com.
Yeah. Second mulligan of the week. I mean, going back to football, Saquon Barkley. I don't really care about the Giants at all, but Saquon Barkley going to the Eagles.
Pretty funny. Saquon going to the Eagles. Not because it's it's funny because Giants fans are gonna be heartbroken, but then one of their guys, I don't know if you saw this, Tiki Barber.
Yeah, what do you say?
You know Tiki Barber, right? He's just
everybody knows who Tiki Barber is.
Bunch of fake teeth, and I think he's the host of like Good Morning America, maybe. But he used to play fairly insignificantly for the Giants. His last season was the season before they upset the Patriots.
Question: Are we talking about Tiki Barber or Michael Strahan?
Tiki Barber.
Oh, okay, got it.
Michael Strahan not have fake teeth. Proud of it. Also,
not fake teeth, but also hosts of Good Morning America.
Yeah, Tiki Barber hosts some show. But he said to Saquon, definitely tongue in cheek, but he said, "You're dead to me." And then clearly it was a joke, but because every athlete that's ever played in New York City is the most sensitive person in the world, Saquon Barkley went on a little Twitter rant and was like, "Don't smile to my face if you're going to say this stuff behind my back." It's like, he didn't say it behind your back. He said it on a live.
Directly at you.
So, Giants fan base is in shambles. The Eagles fan base is always in shambles because they're from Philadelphia. And so I think this is like a win-win for sports, really. Just have two super argumentative fan bases go at it forever. And they paid him a ton of money, but he's not that good.
Yeah.
So my mulligan of the week could really be Philadelphia paying him any amount of money. And then Saquon freaking out. I can't imagine if I was ever awarded $38 million or whatever, I can't imagine my first reaction would be to go online and find a troll and be like, "You're a loser." Well, you're a loser now, actually. Just go pop some champagne. Fun.
Yeah. I don't know. It's going to...
He'll fit well in the city of Philadelphia. Just always angry about something.
Everything. I think that the one interesting thing is going to make for... it seemed like the news was blowing up yesterday as far as the NFL, but I haven't paid attention that much for this whole like trade thing and like was there a deadline? Was it a franchise thing? What was going on?
It was a deadline. So the NFL has this weird rule where tomorrow every player that's going to be a free agent is officially released, but the NFL gives every other team Monday. So you have 2 full days to legally tamper with other players. And so none of these contracts are official. There's a chance that Saquon could sleep on his tweets and be like, "I feel bad about this." He's actually signed nothing. Could sign back with New York. Won't happen. He's already posted one of those cool Instagram things when you're wearing one jersey and then you're not. It's objectively cool.
Shout out as well to all the digital content creators out there for
exhausted.
To be able to shapeshift somebody into a completely different jersey is unbelievable. Simone Biles' boy who just went to the Bears. I mean, full on. I think he was at the Houston Texans or whatever, but full on Bears stuff. And they even put Simone Biles into all Bears wife gear with the hood and everything like that. She's very, very excited about it.
I haven't paid much attention to it, but their child is going to be probably the best athlete that's ever lived. And hopefully they're on LIV.
Yeah. Or God knows. Is the baby born yet? Boy, girl, do we know?
I don't even know if there's a baby, but if there ever is a baby, that baby is going to be the day that it's born is more athletic than me.
Yeah, there's got to be a dating app where it's like, hey, if you're a pro athlete, I'm a pro athlete, let's hook up and figure it out. And if there's not, and it took me 2 seconds to figure it out, then we should probably start that as an offshoot. So getting into our approach news, which of course is all related to team news, obviously the Crushers coming in with a back-to-back win, led, of course, by Bryson DeChambeau, but really Paul Casey drove this win home, going into the playoff and the final day of Hong Kong. And with the new additions of LIV Golf in 2024, where you have every single player on the 4-man squad contributing to the final score, it was something that actually Paul Casey himself debated with and kind of conflicted with at the onset. He said, like, well, what if some guy gets sick, or what if some guy gets injured? Then you have, a null score or something like that. And it turns out that, it's worked out really well for them. I think that it really just shows the exceptional depth to a lot of these teams, obviously led by DeChambeau, Charles Howell III, Anirban Lahiri, and Casey, really each player capable of clinching one of these individual titles. And when you have these individual titles met with players that are right on that cusp, I mean, we have Team Torquay landing in second, Ripper GC it's good to see them, making their way from down under and getting up on the leaderboard with a third place spot. What was notable to me is that the Smash are really having a little bit of a lull at this point, trying to continue them on. We'll see what happens in Miami in a few weeks, but at the same time, you had the Crushers at 35 under, you had Torquay at 33 under, and River GC at 32 under. It wasn't one of those huge spreads where you had, one team blowing out the competition, Crushers coming back from behind. Not as significant as it was in Jeddah, but still a pretty good win as far as the teams goes. I also want to note that the Majestics, the team, one of the leaders from the team, obviously being Ian Poulter, you have Lee Westwood, et cetera, on that team, kind of coming back and showing a little bit of prowess as they move forward. It'll be interesting to see what happens in Miami.
Play on how old they are? Is that like?
Do they what?
Is that a play on how old they are?
I think it's more of like a play on words. Like it's Majestics. Like, hey, we got sticks in our bag. Majestics, like ship sticks. And we're gonna focus on the sticks that we have. They're majestic, but they're Majestics.
They just say, it's just me and Majestics.
Yeah, Majestics. Yeah, just Majestics. The one team as well came in fifth was the Cliques. So I was very confused as to what a clique was. So I looked this up over the weekend. You had cliques.
Cliques.
This is mostly the Eastern European team. You got Keimer. You got Moronk on there. Mostly it's kind of like your Eastern German, Poland team, etc. So nine, yeah, duh. But these guys, so a clique is an old term for a golf club with a wooden shaft and an iron head. So I think that our sponsor, Wink and a Nod, deserves a call and maybe should re-alter the whole cliques thing.
I think I'm somebody who is guilty, who gets a little bit clever for their own good. I've had some bad ideas for this podcast. And if you're listening to this podcast, you've heard a few of them, but no one's going to get that.
No one's going to get that. I mean, to the point where you have to look it up. I mean, maybe if you are a golf fan from 1930 and you know exactly when the first Iron Head Club came out and you're no longer working with Woods, but either way. Yeah, so that's really the big team news. A lot of players are are playing in Macau this week for the International Series and the Asian Tour. We'll get into that in just a little bit, but at the same time, a lot of players are continuing to strive to win those OWGR points to remain, I would assume, remain relevant into some of the majors across the world. But it's one of the things. I think Torquay, you can't turn your head away from Torquay right now. They're literally just striving to be the best. Crushers, obviously, with 2 back-to-back wins. Ripper GC, Team Smash, etc. Kind of pulling through. I am really enjoying this kind of whole team environment as I'm gaining deeper and deeper into LIV. But at the same time, it's one of those things that you like to see a little bit of team environment moving forward. One of the things that we want to see and that we hate to see is that our Legion 13 team coming in dead last with this particular tournament in Hong Kong. And it comes down to our boy Kieran Vincent coming in dead last as an individual and really driving down the team score. When you have a low one like that, it's really tough. Kieran Vincent, Zimbabwean, just need him to kind of pull it together a little bit. Scott Vincent had a really good tournament, but Kieran not so much. And then of course the high flyers, Phil Mickelson's team, tough road.
Yeah, the high flyers there though. I feel like the high flyers and Phil are there for the same reason the chains are there. It's like they're not. That's not why you're there, but it's a bonus. See Phil on the team.
Drive people to go.
Legion 13 should be in the mix. And I know we talk about this a lot, but like anytime you have a scramble, with any sport really, if you have the best player, you should win every time. So Legion 13 should not be losing because they have some kid who apparently might not even be a locker room guy.
I'm still trying to pull teeth from that decision, but John Rahm tied 8th. Legion 13. You got Tyrell Hatton tied 21st. You got our boy Caleb Surratt tied 38th, and Kieran Vincent 54. I mean, Anthony Kim beat Kieran Vincent. Guys have played in 12 years. And AK is beating KV right now. I really need KV to really kind of step it up a little bit for me to really latch on to Legion 13. I want to latch on to Legion 13. But right now, it just seems like it's all Team Tour K. Like Team Tour K, I could probably ride into the sunset for the remainder of the year.
Because there's so little separation between top and bottom. I mean,
yeah, exactly. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say at the top, it's great. It's Joaquin. He's crushing it.
Yeah,
but their fourth is probably better than Legion 13 second. That's 100%. Team golf.
Plus, it's a very attractive team. Great logo, great mindset, good team. Everybody contributes. Great looking guys. South American, they got that salsa action going on. Little spice.
There's a lot of hips going on.
Yeah, a lot of hips. Going into the 2-putt, really the last 2 thoughts of the podcast. So obviously we have a few weeks off going into Miami. That first weekend in April. Obviously, a lot of attentions to the players. So I want to thank LIV. And a lot of people out there are talking about like, oh, there's too much golf going on. I can't follow this. I can't follow that. I think the way the LIV schedule works out is that if you want to still follow these major PGA tournaments, you still can. But you can also then revert back to LIV and then also pay attention to some of these international series, the Asian Tours event. Obviously, we have Macau International Series coming up at the end of the week. 21 of the 54 LIV players are playing in Macau this coming weekend, and I believe I can't help but think that they're obviously in close proximity to Hong Kong, so they want to stay there, they want to stay healthy, they want to stay within the same time zone, etc. 21 of these guys are going to be playing there. Ian Poulter, obviously Anthony Kim, and various others that are going to be getting OWGR points so that they can start stacking those up. So it'll be interesting situation to take place at the Macau Golf and Country Club. I haven't really looked into club stats or specifically what the weather's going to be, but it'll be interesting to kind of see how that plays out. Really, to see how AK really comes to fruition if he continues to grow on his skill and game, and to see what the leaderboard looks like as far as the LIV players go. I feel a little bad for some of the players that are just coming on to the Asian Tour, but at the same time, the Asian Tour is benefiting from this partnership with LIV. You have that, 4-round tournament, traditional stack tournament of 18 holes for 4 days, and they're going to be doing it.
Yeah, they're going to be doing it. Yeah, that was so well done. We're on the 2-putt now.
We're on the 2-putt now. Next point of the 2-putt, Miami, coming up in a few weeks, April 5th to April 7th. Big announcement out of LIV. Everyone's heartthrob, Akon, is going to be performing on April 6th in Miami. It's going to be wild. Pete, your favorite Akon moment?
My favorite Akon moment there's so many of them. I want everyone to know that I'm not saying that sarcastically. When you and I met in college, 2005, Akon had a song with Young Jeezy, and I feel like every room we went to, every party we went to, you just hear Akon and Young Jeezy, and that was like an anthem. And the song, I don't remember it. The fact that he was making it, I respect it. But then he kind of went away. But then he reinvented himself with I'm on a boat, The Lonely Island.
Mm-hmm.
Akon
I
is
think
not.
I think he had to go away, right? Like he had to go away to jail.
Yeah, if you're to believe the song with Young Jeezy, it's locked up. They can't let him
Right.
go.
They can.
But Akon is a guy that I want all the listeners to know. I want you to know. We don't like him ironically. We like Akon because he's just delivered. I've never had a bad time listening to an Akon song.
No, not me personally. I mean,
You?
no. I'm sure there are people out there. I'm sure there are people out there that have had a bad time from the result of listening to an Akon song, but at the same time, it's going to bring the people together down in Miami. I think he's going to rile people up. I'm wondering like what a guy like Richard Bland, who's like 50 something on the LIV tour, is gonna have to say about Akon, but I don't know Richard Bland that well.
Richard Bland is probably Akon's age, though. That's the thing. We are, you and I are getting the age. This has become
Good point.
oldies. Akon
Yeah,
and Young Jeezy is like, you could hear that on classic radio.
right. I wonder what Young Jeezy maybe Young Jeezy is gonna be, you know, doing the deal. Maybe he'll be there too. I don't know. Maybe they all live in Miami.
Who do you think is better at golf, Akon or Young Jeezy?
That's a good question. I'm gonna go with Akon based off of his like Joaquin Demon stature. Oh no, I was wrong.
Young Jeezy.
Young Jeezy's better at golf. All right. Well, he stands the test of time. 19th hole. We get personal about our golf game. Very excited about San Antonio in the next couple of weeks. A little disappointed in how the group is reacting to the golf schedule.
Yeah. So this is something for maybe our subscribers, listeners to like, comment, and subscribe below. But
yeah,
the whole point of the golf trip, in my opinion, Cole, feel free to fight back here, but it's just to play as much golf as possible.
Yeah.
And with some pushback in the group, it's like, how many days are we going to play? We're there for, it's a Thursday to Sunday. So depending on flights, you potentially have 4 days of golf. We're getting a lot of pushback on, do we just play 2 days? Maybe just 1 day of golf? Do we go see the Alamo? Walk down Riverwalk? No. Absolutely not. And I don't know how to tell people that I'm happy that they're there, but if they weren't, I'm still just gonna play golf without them.
Yeah, we made this. I don't want to say mistake. I would say misjudgment. When we went to Scottsdale, we had like a full day. And granted, it was in the fall, so we had at least football to watch and all this other stuff. But the second to last day, we decided to opt out of golf and to watch like football and make like sports bets. And granted, it was fun, but it was like a full day of just like drinking and like making sports bets. But at the same time, every hour, someone's like, "Why aren't we playing golf right now?"
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Thursday, you get in at noon, play the afternoon. Friday, you play. Saturday, you play. Sunday, you don't fly out till at late afternoon, 4 p.m. Get around in then. You just try to play as much as you can. Because you never really have that opportunity back in reality. You're on a golf trip. Once you get back to reality, you have obligations and significant others and kids.
And also, the Sunday is the one I'm most looking forward to, and that's the one that people seem to most opposed to. But like,
that's fine.
Why not play golf for 4 hours from 9 to 1 and catch your flight?
Yeah, 100%. Because otherwise, you got to get out. You got to get out of the house by 11. Anyways, what are you going to do from 11 to 2? Nothing. You're going to go get an expensive lunch?
Yeah. No.
It's silly. So a little disappointing in the guys. Need to get them going a little bit. I mean, I don't, and really deep down, I just don't care. I just want to go out and have a good time and figure it out. But at the same time, like I like to have it a bigger crowd. But
the nice thing
either
is
way,
that you and I are on the same page. We're going on the same trip. We have at least 3 other guys who were with us. So, if anything, I feel bad for that 5th guy who's like, I wanted to play too. And we're like, sorry, we only got room for 4. Probably Jake.
No. Yeah. No, I mean, Jake's going to be balls to the wall. He'll probably try to get 2 rounds in one day just to do it. Or he'll Lord knows what he's going to be doing. Godspeed to him. But either way, we'll be there. Well, I just want to end it off by obviously thanking my co-host, Pete McCoubry. I'm Colby Ed, and this is the How We Live podcast. I want to thank our sponsor, Winking and Non Marketing. I want to thank all of our listeners and viewers out there. Please like, subscribe, and comment to the podcast. It goes a long way. And we have a special guest coming in the next couple of weeks here, so stay tuned to that. And have a great night, everybody.